Alex Jones and Joseph Farah of WorldNet Daily, which is a right-wing conspiracy site, are going to speculate about Obama's future plans here. Let's see what they think.
If he keeps getting away with all these dictatorial power grabs that are historic, do you think there's any danger he might actually try to pull something and stay in, or just put so much evil in place that he leaves and then all of his operatives just keep running things?
Yeah, I think a part of him actually is going to be tired of being president. I think the bigger danger is, laying the groundwork for tyranny that cannot be easily undone when he's gone. Maybe he's going to handpick a successor. I don't know. But whatever it is, we can't let it happen.
I don't understand for the life of me why right-wingers can get away with saying shit like that. If a progressive said something like that, Fox News would run wall to wall. They would run it and say, "Look at this fucking idiot." Can you believe he said that? Okay, Alex Jones just said, is Obama going to have a third term? Is he going to stay for a third term? I'm just curious. What are your thoughts on that? Third term for Obama? Third term? Third term? That's not possible. And when that doesn't happen, is Alex Jones going to apologize? Say, I was wrong even thinking for a second that he could get a third term. It turns out in the U.S. you're limited to 2. I just learned that. I just figured that out. It's kind of crazy. It's weird. And this other jackass, Farah, is like, oh, no, I don't think he's going to be there for a third term because he's tired. Oh, okay, so he's smarter than Alex Jones. But he may hand-pick a successor. Again, that's impossible. But you can get away, if you're a right-winger, you can get away with saying anything. You can get away with saying anything and there's no backlash. Why? Because the listeners, they don't live in the real world. They don't care about facts. Have you ever, anytime I've ever done a video on a conspiracy theory, and understand, I'm not one of these guys who says, all conspiracy theories are wrong just by virtue of the fact that they're a conspiracy theory. They're all stupid and dumb. I'm actually pretty moderate on those issues because I think there are some that have just been flat out proven. They're just historically factual. We know that they happen, whether it's the Tuskegee experiments or the Bay of Pigs or Gulf of Tonkin or Operation Northwoods. So we know about a lot of them, right? But I think some of them are made up and they're bullshit. And they're people who are connecting dots where there's not a real connection. So whenever I do a video that goes after conspiracy theories, I get wall of criticism. You trust the government too much. You're an idiot. Do your research. What the fuck are you talking about? It's been proven that Sandy Hook was a government thing, man. What are you talking about? And so these guys, it's like a religion. Like Alex Jones listeners, it's like a religion, or the far right kind of people. And Alex Jones is slightly different from the far right because he thinks, George Bush did 9/11 and all that stuff. But those two separate camps, it's like religious viewers. Because no matter what these guys say, their loyalists will defend them. Somebody's going to defend that. You don't think somebody's going to defend that? Somebody's going to defend that. Alex is right, man. Obama's going to try to get a third term. You're an idiot. Or, no, he's wrong, but Farah is right. Obama's going to do some crazy stuff and handpick a successor. That's not possible in the United States of America.
Plotting to run for a third term? Investment advisor Porter Stansberry, no stranger to conspiracy theories about the president, thinks so. Here he is on the conservative Alex Jones radio show.
So if you look at people who ran for president for 3 terms, it's Teddy Roosevelt, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, and Obama. And they all had certain things in common. They are all populist. They all spent a lot of money on people. But the other thing they had in common was in 1901, there was an oil boom from Spindletop. In 1930, there was an oil boom from East Texas. And right now going on in America is the biggest renaissance in oil since 1930. It's the shale boom. And all this oil is producing huge new revenues for the feds and also enormous power for Obama. Of course, he's going to use that power and all that leverage to prepare.
He has sympathy for dictators. He relates to them. He inherited his father's Marxism. And it's not me saying this. It's somebody from American Thinker, the Nigerian woman, writing last week referring to Obama as average African colonel. You have to wonder if Obama is just trying to lay a foundation for not being a hypocrite when he tries to serve beyond 2016. I wouldn't be at all surprised if in the next number of years there is a move on the 22nd Amendment, which term limits the President of the United States. He may not do it that way. He may not openly try to change the Constitution. But there might be this movement in the country from his cult-like followers to support the notion that a democratically elected leader who is loved and adored has carte blanche once elected. Just serve as long as he wants because the people demand it, because the people want it, because the people love him. And I wouldn't put it past Obama to be plotting right now how to serve beyond 2016. And I think, and I'll tell you, folks, this business about serving beyond 2016, you know, the thing that, when you look at Obama's followers, and we've discussed it here, they are a cult-like bunch. And their attachment to him is not political, it's not ideological, it's not issue-wise, it is cultish. It includes a wide percentage of minorities, by the way, who, for different reasons, who will come to think that he simply cannot be replaced. Let him succeed with amnesty, for example, and all the illegal aliens who are instantly made citizens. He'll be too important. Just like right now, he's too big to fail as far as the drive-bys are concerned. He's too important to be replaced. No one else can lead the nation, they will say. And they won't care a whit about the legalities that might be trampled. Half of them wouldn't care about the legalities anyway if they don't even know about them because they haven't been properly educated. So, this is... I think this situation in Honduras is very instructive. And I think anybody who thinks that he intends to just constitutionally go away in 2016 is nuts. I think that's what all this Acorn stuff is all about. I think giving Acorn money, fraudulent voter registration, whatever it's going to take, these are people who seek power for reasons other than to serve.
Let's talk about the voter ID laws. In those states where there is no photo ID required, will these illegals be able to vote?
Well, I think you've got a number of things. I think, first of all, can they vote? Can they be working in elections, even if they don't ultimately come to the polls? Are they walking door to door? Are they doing things that the president might want them to do? I think all of those are big concerns because anytime you say that we're not going to enforce a law on the book, that erodes that basic rule of law. And for the president to come down and use this argument he's used that basically, look, if you don't change the law, I have a right to break the law. What's he going to do next? Is he going to say, I want a third term, and if Congress and the American people don't change the law, I'm going to declare martial law and just use that as a justification? I just think he's on some weak grounds here, Judge, in the whole approach he's taken.
Sees happening. But first, I got to ask you, Porter, what do you make of them saying you didn't build it, we're going to bankrupt America, we're going to confiscate all semi-automatic rifles and handguns, and Democrats are really saying, hey, let's start arresting people, and you're racist if you don't like world government. I mean, this is even nastier than I thought it would be. This is crazy. I mean, why do you think they're trying to totally take over right now?
I think, I think they believe that they have the votes, that they have the power, the people behind them. And I think if you look at what's going on in our country, they've, this idea of class warfare has really materialized, where you have half of the people that voted for Obama receiving enormous direct federal handouts. The Democratic Party has perfected this machine that buys elections, and they're going to see how far they can take that, because it doesn't look like the Republicans can get organized enough to stop them.
Well, that's because they're part of the same globalist system. Where do you think the power structure is trying to take us, Porter?
Well, just look at, just sort of look what's going around the country. You have the highest amount of dependence on the government in the history of the United States. At the same time, you have the federal government beginning to break apart financially.
What was your impression of the president's State of the Union speech?
My first thought was it sounded like he was running for a third term. He seemed to have completely forgotten or chose to ignore the election last November. he was looking out at an audience that had 80 more Republicans in it than his first State of the Union.
Enforcement of the short-sighted immigration laws.
We have to repair a broken immigration system. And that this progress is only possible when we do it together.
If you can dispense with immigration laws or marijuana laws or mandatory minimums, can you also dispense with election laws?
Again, I think we've gone over this ground many times.
Well, just humor me. Let's do it one more time. Can the president suspend election laws?
No.
Why not? If he can suspend mandatory minimum and immigration laws, why not election laws?
Because we live in a government of laws, and the president is bound to obey them and apply them.
There was a fight with James I about what was called the royal prerogative. It's very similar to what President Obama is claiming, the right of the king to essentially stand above the law.
The growing assertion of power by this president to do things to change laws, that's not his responsibility. That's the Congress's clearly delegated responsibility to write the laws. But even with Obamacare, his signature legislation, when he finds things in it that he doesn't like, he rewrites the law, even though the law itself doesn't give him any authority to do that.
George Washington Law School professor Jonathan Turley weighed in on the perishing of the legislative branch.
Is that it's not only being circumvented, but it is also being denied the ability to enforce its inherent powers. Many of these questions are not close in my view. The president is outside the line. But it has to go in front of a court, and that court has to grant review. And that's where we have the most serious constitutional crisis I view in my lifetime.
Obama is going around talking about how he wants to raise the minimum wage to help the working poor, even though it's his quote-unquote affordable health care that's causing most of the working poor to lose their full-time jobs. And, of course, doubling the federal tax on gasoline, at the same time adding a new tax to track people the number of miles that they drive. That's something that's not really going to help out the working poor too much, is it, Anthony?
No, absolutely not. And more specifically, this new major story that Obama, his powers are so unprecedented that even congressmen now are saying Obama is enacting dictatorial powers by saying that, yes, I'll follow some laws, but overall, I'll do anything I want.
Yeah.
And the key thing here is, some of the Congress people are saying he could become a dictator. He could choose to suspend election terms and everything like that. But the reality is he's already enforced dictatorial powers.
Yes.
We have proof of that. And right now we're going to go over it, specifically what he's done. So if someone ever comes up to you and you're in a debate or you need to show someone what's going on, this is the key.
That's right.
Obama has already said the Constitution doesn't matter. He has already used dictator-style powers to go ahead and do anything he wants. And they do it with this straight face. And they act like it's no big deal, from the NSA spying on you at all times to the DHS saying you have no constitution, literally. They're doing this over and over again and getting away with it because the people aren't freaking out enough about it. And even when they do, Obama just gets away with it. So why can't he suspend the election? Why can't he say, okay, I'll run again? Why can't he do anything? He could literally declare himself a dictator today and probably get away with it if we let him. That's why we need to push this into the actual news and make it a headline. But go ahead.
Absolutely. Look at just the Indefinite Detention Act, where he signed that midnight on a New Year's Eve holiday, said, don't worry, I'm not going to use it. But I mean, that was totally unconstitutional to start with, to say that they could pick up people and not charge them with anything and hold them indefinitely.
And my fear, I know, Bob, you say that go to court. My fear,
it's an idea.
My fear.
Now these people, these commentators, are telling you that Obama is lawlessness.
What happens then?
And what does the Bible say about lawlessness? God is trying to get our attention, people.
And I do agree that
the man of sin, the lawless one, is here. This is the first president in U.S. history that's breaking laws and changing laws with his own authority. Sit and ponder on that. The Bible talks about the one to come on the scene, the lawless one, to change set dates and times and laws. Now, there's only one person that can fit that description.